Good afternoon.
Fine weather. Fine weather indeed.
Oh, I hadn't
Wouldn't you say, madame?
I hadn't really noticed. Yes, I suppose it is a lovely day.
Yes. Not many more of these left. Winter's just around that tree there.
The winters are getting longer lately. Have you noticed that? Come sooner and stay longer.
Yes, I've noticed it, madame. Only in these last few years have I noticed it.
Fine, gentle-looking person, seen his share of life. Fine, gentle-looking person, and he's never with a wife. If this kind, gentle-hearted gentleman speaks once again to me, should this sad, nervous, widowed lady go out with him for tea?
A fine figure of a lady, with quality and tone. A fine figure of a lady, and she always sits alone. Should this fine figure of a gentleman, who's older than the sea, ask this fine figure of a lady if she'd like to share some tea? I was wondering, madame.
Oh, yes?
I was wondering, do you have the time of day?
Oh, I don't carry a timepiece.
No matter. No matter, it wasn't urgent. My business can wait. Yes, it can wait. Should this old weather-beaten gentleman take one more chance at life, she reminds me of that sweet lady whom I lovingly called wife.
I had my tender-hearted gentleman. Can I go through again all the pain, joy, and all the sorrow that you get from loving men?
Is it too late for happiness? Too late for flings? Too late to ask for love? There aren't many springs left for people who spend their nights waiting for the day, for someone to share delights long since passed away. Too late for happiness, too soon for fall, too late for anything, anything at all. Seems to be clouding up a bit.
Yes, I'm beginning to feel a chill in the air.
Oh, would you like my scarf for your neck?
Oh, thank you, no. It's getting late. I should be getting home.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing, the very same thing. Unless you would care to join me for tea. A cup of tea. It might be the very thing, a cup of tea.
Oh, tea? Tea, you say? Well, that's very nice of you. I I would love to.
You would?
Yes. But not today. It's getting late. Perhaps tomorrow?
Yes, of course. Perhaps tomorrow. There's always tomorrow.
Good day, sir.
Good day, madam.
Yes, there's
Still time for
happiness.
Time to be gay. Still time to answer yes. But just not today.
Peterson was the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I have ever met. He was successful with all kinds of women, for that matter, but there was a special challenge to beautiful women married to prominent, rich, successful men. You know, I could never do him justice. Let him tell you in his own words. If I may say so myself, I am the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I have ever met. I say this not boastfully, but as a matter of record. The staggering figures speak for themselves. For those men who would like to try their hand at this highly satisfying but often dangerous game, I urge you to take out pen and paper and start taking notes, for I am about to explain my methods. In defense, married women may do the same, but it will do them little good if they are the chosen victim. My methods never fail. Now then, 3 vital characteristics are needed. They are patience, more patience, and still more patience. If you do not have the strength to wait and persist, I urge you to take up bicycling or perhaps rowing. Seducing is not for you. And now then, in order to seduce a man's wife, you must, I repeat, must keep as far away from her as possible. Pay her no particular attention at all. Ignore her if you must. We will get at the wife through the husband. You are about to witness a practical demonstration, for it so happens that I am madly and deeply in love this week. My heart pounds with excitement, knowing that she will pass through this garden in a few minutes with her husband. Every fiber of my being tells me to throw my arms around her and embrace her with all the passion in my heart. But observe how a master works. I shall be cool to the point of freezing. My heart of hearts and spouse approaches.
Ah, Peterson. Fancy meeting you here.
My dear Nikolai, how good to see you. You're looking very well. Notice how I am not looking at her at all.
Thank you, and you gay devil, you're always looking well. Excuse me, have you met my wife, Irina? Of course you have. You sat next to her at dinner at the Vesnovs. Irina, I don't know what this charmer said to you at dinner, but I must warn you, he's a scoundrel. A notorious bachelor, and an exceptional swordsman. That is the best I can say for you, Peter.
Oh, you exaggerate, Nicky. Madam, good to see you.
We were just taking a stroll. If you're not too busy, why not walk with us?
Oh, that's very kind of you, Nikolai. But, as it so happens, I am riveted to this spot. A new romance has entered my life. And my legs are like pillars of granite. Until she is out of my sight, I will be incapable of movement. Too much, do you think? As I said, be patient.
Fantastic! You never cease to amaze me. Pretty, I suppose.
Oh, suppose magnificent. Suppose glorious. And you will suppose correctly.
Any complications?
As usual, a husband. No, my dear Nicky, I fear my course is a hopeless one.
Nonsense. I'm placing my money on you, Peter. You know, I never bet unless I'm sure of winning. Well, we're off. Good hunting, my boy. Good hunting.
Madam. Brilliantly done, don't you think? I am sometimes awed by the work of a true professional. Did you notice how we barely glanced at each other, how we exchanged hardly a word, and yet how much she already knows about me? A, that I am a popular bachelor. B, a man in love, always titillating to the romantic woman. C, a gifted sportsman, a nice contrast to her sedentary husband. And D, and this is the most important part, a dangerous man with the ladies. Frankly, at this point she is disgusted with me. A, because I'm a braggart and a scoundrel. B, because I am shamelessly frank as to my intentions. And C, because she thinks she's not the one I'm interested in. Forgive me if I'm slightly overcome by my own deviousness. Oh, by the way, are you getting all this down? It gets tricky from here on in. Now then, the next step is hypnosis. Not hypnosis with the eyes, but with the poison of your tongue. Much like a venomous snake moving in for the kill. And the best channel is through the husband. A witness as I accidentally run into him one day at the club.
Peter, you're looking glum. I take it your pursuit isn't going well.
Is it that obvious? Oh, Nicky, I'm doomed. I sleep little and eat even less. I've had all my shirt collars taken in half an inch. Oh, Nicky, why do I waste my valuable youth chasing after women I can never truly call my own? How I envy you.
Me? What is there about me that you envy?
Why, your marriage, of course. Charming lady, your wife, let me tell you.
Really? What is it about her that fascinates you so?
Why, her grace, her quiet charm, everything. But most of all, it's the way she looks at you. Those adoring, loving eyes. If only someone would look at me that way. Must send quivers through your entire body.
Quivers? No, not really.
A tingle, perhaps? Don't tell me you don't tingle when she looks at you.
Oh, of course. By all means, I tingle all the time.
She's an ideal woman, Nicky. Take that from a lonely bachelor. And be glad that fate has given you a wife like that.
Perhaps fate will be as kind to you.
That's what I'm counting on. Oh, good heavens, I'm late for my doctor's appointment.
What's he treating you for?
Melancholia. Do say hello to your extraordinary wife, but I urge you not to repeat our conversation. It might upset her fragile sensitivities. Oh, where is a woman for me? I know where. The question is, how soon will she be mine? There is still work to be done, but not by me. I leave that to my aide and accomplice. Oh, by the way, I ran into Peterson today.
Oh, by the way, I ran into Peter Semyonich today.
Who?
Peter Semyonich, the bachelor. We met him in the gardens last week. That attractive fellow, you remember?
I remember what a loathsome man he is.
You may not think so when you hear what he had to say about you.
Nothing that braggart had to say would be of interest to me.
He spoke most enthusiastically about you. He was enraptured by your charm, your quiet grace, and he said he felt you were capable of loving a man in some extraordinary way. Something about your eyes and the way you look so adoringly. He went on and on. Well, good night, my dear.
Good night. What else? What else did he have to say about me?
Peter?
Whatever that loathsome man's name is. What else did Peter Semyonich say about me?
Well, that's more or less it, what I told you.
But you said he went on and on.
He did.
But you stopped. If he went on and on, don't stop. Either go on and on, or let's go to bed.
Well, he said how much he envied me, how much he wanted someone to look at him the way you look at me.
How does he know how I look at you?
That day in the gardens, he must have been looking at you when you were looking at me. Sent a tingle through my whole body.
The way I looked at you?
Exactly, my precious.
But you were looking at him, so you couldn't have seen how I was looking at you. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the flowers because you made me nervous the way you kept avoiding looking at me. You must have tingled for some other reason.
This is getting rather confusing. The point is, he was fascinated by you. I thought it would please you.
Well, it doesn't. I wish you wouldn't tell me such stories. Are you planning to see him again soon?
Tomorrow, for lunch.
Well, I would rather not be discussed over lunch. Tell him that. And at dinner, you can tell me what he said. Good night, Nicky.
Good night, my angel.
Good night, my love. I am spellbound by my own powers. I succeeded in not only piquing her interest, but in making her heart flutter at the mention of my name. Man she called loathsome not 2 minutes ago. And all this was accomplished, mind you, while I was at home taking a pine-scented bath. Luncheon the next day was not only nourishing, but productive. Oh, by the way, old boy, I ran into Nekrasov the other day, the artist. Seems he has been commissioned by some wealthy prince to paint the head of a typical Russian beauty. He asked me to help him find a model. I told him I knew just the lady, but I dared not ask her myself. What would you say to asking your wife?
Asking my wife what?
To be the model, of course. Why, with that exquisite face of hers, it would be a pity if that lovely head missed its chance to become immortalized for all the world.
For all the world? Really? I see what you mean.
Why don't you discuss it with her?
Good idea. I'll discuss it with her. So I said I'd discuss it with you. What do you think?
I think it's nonsense. How did he put it to you? I mean, did he actually say a typical Russian beauty?
Precisely. And that it would be a damn shame if that exquisite face missed its chance to become immortalized for the entire world. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, he gets carried away by his own voice. Those exact words. You didn't leave anything out.
Ah, yes, that lovely face. I missed out that lovely face. He said that a number of times, I think.
He does go on, doesn't he? How many times did he say it? Once? Twice? What?
Let me think. It's hard to remember.
It's not important. But in future, I wish you'd write these things down.
Have you seen me near her? Have you heard me speak to her? Has any correspondence passed between us? And yet, she hangs upon my every word uttered by her husband. Awesome, isn't it? We apply this treatment from 2 to 3 weeks. Her resistance is weakening, weakening, weakening.
His mind is elsewhere, if you ask me. On some woman by the looks of him.
What woman? Has he mentioned any woman in particular?
Oh no, he's too discreet for that. He'll protect her good name at any cost. Instead, he talks of you all day. Poor fool. I'm beginning to feel sorry for him.
It's really none of our concern, Nicky. Did you invite him to dinner tomorrow?
He's busy.
The day after, then?
Busy.
Next week? Next month? When?